Kentucky Doctors for Life, Kentuckians for Life Memorial Banquet. I'm Dr. Marty Fox. I'm leader emcee tonight. And we have a packed coverage. It's loaded. So we don't want to waste any time. We will begin from Pastor Jerry Stevenson, the Midwest Church of Christ.
Thank you, Dr. Fox. I ask that you join with me in prayer. Dear God, God our Creator, God our Sustainer, our God, it is before you that we come tonight. Forever thanking you for being that life that we all receive, the sanctity of life. We get it from you, O God. And as we come tonight, we celebrate the hearts, minds of the men and women who you use to deliver your good to this world. So I pray for each doctor, each nurse, whatever role they play, oh God, you will continue to melt your love into their hearts. That they'll always stand with the Creator who gives life and the only one who is to take life. And Father, as we come tonight, we thank you for those who have put this ministry together. May they have a good life, knowing that they stand for what you stand for. They walk with what you walk with. So, God, we thank you tonight. We come now and we ask that you bless the food which we're going to receive. May it be for the nourishment of our bodies. For it's in the name of Jesus that us all together say, amen.
Now I have the honor of introducing the most pro-life governor in Kentucky history.
It's good to see so many friends, faces that I don't know in this room. There are many I do know who I've crossed paths with in and outside of the political. I want to thank you on a literally stunning, beautiful, picture-perfect Saturday to have taken time to be here tonight to celebrate the truly greatest gift that any of us have been given from a human perspective, from a mortal perspective, and that is our actual physical life. It is indeed an inalienable right. Our founders understood this. It was not given to us by government, has no right to be taken from us by government, but rather it's an inalienable right with which we were endowed by our Creator. Words are ingrained in us, but they were important enough that the people who founded this nation, this great noble experiment, took the time to write these words down, to recognize that while there were certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, that wasn't all of them. They said that among these are, but the very first one was life. Everything else is predicated on it. It's as simple as that. It's not that complicated. The words of me being strongly pro-life, I'm grateful for. I appreciate that. I would be no more or less pro-life if I were governor or not. I just had a conversation with somebody earlier this evening, your keynote speaker to be exact, but I've had this conversation with others as well. And while I'm running for office, and indeed, there's an election in 2.5 months, people will go to the ballot box, and I will answer to the voters at the ballot box. As surely as I will answer to the voters on November the 5th, I'm as confident as I am that we're having this conversation that I'll answer to my Creator someday for the decisions that I make. It's a given that most of us feel the same way and believe the same things. Not everyone does. Maybe not even everyone in this room does. But I am as confident of that as I am of this conversation we're having. So it's not necessarily easy to do things that need to be done on this front, but it is remarkably simple. Remarkably simple. I don't for 1 second wonder which side of this equation that I'm on. Not even for a little. I'm not a person who makes promises or makes commitments or makes guarantees of certain things. But if I believe in something, I'm going to move on that with everything within me. And it is a fine line as to where that comes down. But I just wanted to come tonight, and what I mean by fine line is we operate within a construct of rules and of regulations. And of people who say, well, we've got these 3 branches of government, but we've got to defer to the Supreme Court, for example, because that's the law of the land. Well, it's a co-equal branch of government. It really is. And that co-equal branch is co-equal with the legislative branch and the executive branch, not only within states, but at the national level as well. And there have been any number of times in our nation's history where states have stood in the gap against things that were the law. I don't know what they're doing in that room, but they're having fun. That is something fun happening over there. The National Cheerleading Convention came to town. But you think about this, there have been times when literally rulings were just plain wrong. They were morally wrong. And there have been states and there have been elected officials who have stood in the gap at times like that. This is where we are in America. It is. No question about it. So there are things happening that are good. I will say this. I've got to take off in a moment. I'm going to be doing things all evening up until late tonight. Trophies for horse shows at the fair. So forgive me that I won't be able to stay with you this evening. But I wanted to encourage you. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to celebrate with you the fact that we are winning this battle. And it's because we're on the side of what's right. Really, that's not it. We were fearfully and wonderfully made. We were endowed by our Creator with the right to life. And that government does not have that right to take this from us or to set up a circumstance under which that's possible. And the more we know about medicine and the more we know about science, the more obvious it is that this is indeed a human life. 45 years ago, it was easy to tell people it was a clump of cells, and nobody could arguably say too terribly much different. It was easy to fool people. You have 3D now and now 4D ultrasound that have transformed our understanding of what's happening. And the more we know medically, the more we know scientifically, the more obvious it is. My wife is a registered nurse. She's not actively practicing now, but when I met her 30 years ago, she worked in a labor and delivery unit in a rural hospital, worked in the NICU as well. Saw little teeny tiny babies just fighting for their lives. There was nobody, not a doctor, not a nurse, not a person like me who came in and saw that didn't for 1 second understand absolutely that that was a human being worth fighting for. So we're on the side of the right. Be encouraged. The reason the gild is coming off the lily, the reason you see in states like New York, in states like Virginia and others, people not even pretending that it's about being rare anymore. They want it on demand. They want it at any point in time, even right up to the moment of and even after the time of birth. The reason they don't care about just shedding the veneer of rare, safe, and legal is because they recognize they're losing. And they are exposing their true convictions and belief. And guess what? They're on the wrong side. They know they're on the wrong side. And this is why it isn't just in Kentucky. You're seeing it in other states. And I am grateful that I'm in a position as one of 50 people that can help to influence other governors, other legislators, people in Washington, D.C. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to those of you. I'm guessing most of you are from Kentucky. Some of you might have come across the river. Some of you may be visiting. I know a few are. But for those of you in Kentucky, I'm grateful to you for having afforded me this opportunity. I really am. And I will use it to the best of my ability. I'll use it wisely to be a good steward of every facet of it, not the least of which is giving a voice to the voiceless and defending the unborn. And I'll be unapologetic in this at every turn. I have been from the moment I ran. I have been in every instance while I'm in this position. And I will continue to be because we know, as I said a moment ago, who's ultimately responsible. It's not us. We're in moments of responsibility. This is a blink of an eye in the continuum of eternity. It really is. So I thank you for being here. Be encouraged. I'm telling you, we've got a great team. My legal team here in Kentucky is as good as anyone. They are so solid legally, but they are so strongly supportive of the sanctity of human life because they too know that these are living human beings. And we have an opportunity this fall to elect a man, Daniel Cameron, who is solidly pro-life. Thank you for being here. Be encouraged. We're winning. I truly believe that in fairly short order, we will be the only state in America that has no abortion clinic.
Thank you, Governor Bevin, and thank you for committing the staff, energy, the legal team to not only get these laws passed, but to defend them against the challenges from the usual suspects. Dr. Avarado, will tell him I said that later. We're going to hear from his running mate, the Lieutenant Governor. He's a fellow physician. He's a real doctor for life. State Senator Ralph Avarado.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you all for being here tonight. It is a beautiful day outside. Y'all can be someplace else. People often wonder who I am. They kind of look at my last name, it looks a little funny, Alvarado. I tell them it sounds like avocado, desperado, silverado. I think the governor recommended to call me Chevy. Many people I know just discussing here tonight, as a doctor, what to get involved in politics. It was an interesting question. And I tell a bit of the story. A lot of this goes back really to my parents who were Hispanic immigrants in this country, came here legally, met in the States, got married. My brother and I came. I socially pushed towards education at a young age. Kids of immigrants, you see how hard your parents work, that you all put in a lot of effort just to make them proud. For one, it's an honor, the sacrifice that they made. I in medicine, never really politically involved as far as being I was a political science major, involved in a lot of politics. I was a Reagan kid. I grew up in the Reagan era, and my parents were big fans of Ronald Reagan, and a lot of his ideas run true for me. Please voted regularly, and when I came to Kentucky, I had an opportunity to come and do medicine. I came to the University of Kentucky to do residency. Fell in love with our state here. This is home. And my wife and I started our married life here. We've been married for 25 years. After a while, you realize quickly what government's impact is when it comes to healthcare. And I had to go ahead and get an opportunity back in 2003 when the court reform bill was done. Didn't get the result I wanted. My state senator didn't even vote on the issue at all. And I told my wife I wanted to get more involved. Someone was knocking on our front door for me Pleasure's campaign in 2003. I wasn't home. My wife was. Just put your sign out there. By the way, my husband wants to get more involved. Started a journey. I never would have dreamt where we're at today. Ran for office in 2004 for state rep. We got beat. Ran for 2006. Got beat. After that race in 2006, the Saturday after the campaign was over, we go work one morning at the N word decorated on the front of our house. My wife and my mom, who were with us at the time, got very nervous. Papa, what is that word? What does that mean? Why is that on our house? And I was pretty angry, infuriated that I had to have that discussion with my kids at that age. I bought a few more guns, put up a security system in our home. I'm a doc. I got a career. I don't need this. 2010, the party came to me and said, how about running for state senate? I don't think like Alvarado that I can win. I've run twice. We prayed about it. We got a calling to go ahead and run for that race. Running again, we got beat again. I said, one more time, Ralph. We did for 2014. My wife said, this is the last time. Get this out of your system. We're not going to do this again. Talked about trying to drop out of that race. She said, no, I'll go through all of this. We won. It was a really nasty race. We wound up getting in. I got called the drug dealer on TV. I had an opportunity with Senator Paul. Pastor Stevenson to do an introduction when he announced his run for president. Believe it or not, that link, that little moment, led to an opportunity to speak at the national convention. And then this year, Governor Bevin asked me to go ahead and run with him. It's interesting, when he approached me and asked me to do that, I called him January 2nd. He said, are you coming to Frankfurt today? I said, well, rounds on patients, but if you want me to come up, go talk to your wife, pray about it, don't tell anybody. Look on my face, I think I was done. And he goes, yeah, I know, I just caught you off guard, but seriously, don't tell anybody. And then we had another big long meeting in his house for 4 hours with him and the First Lady and my wife and I. He wanted to know my parents and how they came to their country and my family story and my relationships with my family. He wanted to know about why I became a doctor, why I get involved in politics. What's my focus and view for the Commonwealth? How do you envision this role as lieutenant governor? You can do as much as you want or as little as you want with this role. And in the end, the question was, are you sure you want to do this? It's going to get really, really nasty. Lost friendships. And in the end, I said, look, I know who I am. My family does, my church want me to stand in the gap to get this state transformed. So in the end, I didn't leak out the information. I think that probably pressed him a little bit, and he asked me to go ahead and run with him. We tell people, this state, if you take a look back at where we are today, where we were 4 years ago, clearly this state is much better off today. And I had a chance to give you some words of encouragement. And some of these kids are from all over the country. They're not just from Kentucky. We had one young lady who was from New York. And after the discussion, to me, was upset about the bill that we just passed, saying, how can you justify that? And wanted to argue with me and talk about it, how medical, what we know from medicine. And I said, you're a first-year student, right? Yes. Listen, you're just at the beginning of your career. I said, in the next several years, you're going to be asked to do something. Because whatever training you're going to do, you're going to pronounce someone dead at some point. Produce a death note in the record. You have to document certain things to prove that someone is dead and no longer alive. There's 5 things to go down. One is an absence of any kind of spontaneous response to you at all. They don't respond to your name. They don't have any sign of pain. There's no spontaneous respirations. Your pupils are fixed dilated, no palpable pulse, and no auscultable heartbeat. If any of those 5 things are there, that person is still not officially dead. So if the heartbeat is part of a sign of death or an absence of life, when it's present, it's naturally a sign. And I think that caught them off guard. And I had a young man send me an email later that day, a young Hispanic kid from Eastern Kentucky, who was kind of been embarrassed by his culture and was encouraged to see a guy who's of Hispanic background kind of in state leadership. And he was a self-proclaimed atheist, but appreciated that someone from a non-religious perspective could prove that, yeah, this is where life begins and there's life present there. And I'm going to have a portion to kind of follow up with that young man and continue to follow his course and his training and becomes a doctor to appeal to him that it takes sometimes more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe in a higher power. The body and the design that's present there, there's no way you can do it. That's all by chance. The design from a higher power. We're looking forward to this campaign this year. It's going to be a low turnout election, we tell a lot of folks. We encourage you, please. This state is pro-life, and proudly pro-life. Republican or Democrat. Kentuckians and Kentucky voters are proud of the fact that we support the unborn. This governor has done everything in his power, as you can see from the bills that have been passed, to make sure that happens. This General Assembly has been very proud of the bills that we've passed. There's a couple more we're looking at for the future. We cannot dismember babies after death. I think Senator Westerfield had a bill that he had proposed. Didn't get through. We're going to be bringing that back. We want to go for a constitutional amendment in the state. We said that when Roe v. Wade is overturned, and I'm confident that it will be at some point, when that becomes overturned, that abortion will be illegal in the state of Kentucky. I would encourage you all, again, not go backwards in this state. I think we all know we're making strides. We're tired of what when other people look at our state in the past, they have perceptions of what Kentucky is. Those of us who are from here, we know the jewel of the state that we live in. We know how great of a state the people are salt of the earth people. And the finest people on earth. There's a lot of pride in this state. And I tell folks, you mix Kentucky pride with hope. That's a tremendous power. We've got to make sure everybody feels that hope because it's coming. And I think the development of the state is coming. We're ready to explode here and become a top 5 state in all the important categories and also to protect our kids, make sure that our kids have homes to go to and have an opportunity for life here as well. Thank you all so much.
State Senator Ralph Avarado. He didn't say it, but I will. He's the first Hispanic Kentucky state senator. Now we're going to hear about all these bills we've been hearing about, legislative updates from the executive director of the Kentucky Right to Life Association. Tireless. She's been doing this for as long as I know her. Margie Montgomery.
So pleased to be here with so many of my friends tonight and with Dr. Alvarado, Dr. Simon. I remember the days when Dr. Simon and Dr. Shane Butler and I would gather in my basement for the first meeting of Kentucky Doctors. We see the growth, but we know that there could be a lot more. And I know Dr. Simon is working very hard to get more students involved so that we can carry the message of respect for the dignity and the respect for human life that we should have. Now, I've been asked to speak on legislation. This will be as best as I can do in a limited amount of time. 46th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. The New York legislature passed an extreme pro-abortion bill, signed it into law by Governor Andrew Cuomo. After defending the Reproductive Health Act for years, the Reproductive Health Act enshrined abortion on demand in addition to removing protection from abortion survivors. Unbelievably, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Virginia came with their own of the New York type law. I think you realize, probably have kept up to date with it. This is a terrible, terrible law. It is unbelievable that men and women who've been elected to represent the people in their state would think so little of the respect we should give to human life by passing such a law. It's really infanticide more than it is abortion, because these babies are born alive. And we've heard about different women whose babies have been born alive and they are allowed to die. The governor in one state has no compassion whatsoever. As of this report in late May, Rhode Island's counterpart has passed one change. In Vermont, 2 harmful pieces of legislation are moving quickly. However, National Right to Life has educated the public by telling the public of the danger of becoming another New York. And we know how awful it has become. In Virginia, pro-lifers celebrated the repeal bill. In Massachusetts, the legislation has not moved. In the middle of our spring season, more laws protecting unborn children have been enacted than laws that would threaten their very existence. That is good news. And that's why we need to keep up what's going on in our other states, because that could come here to Kentucky. Now, fortunately, as you well know, we have a very strong pro-life governor. In fact, there's a petition that's circulating at our booths at the state fair, which thanks Governor Bevin for helping pass, along with the House members and Senate members, legislation to protect the dignity of human life. Thinking that he might be here, the petition, and those of you who have been to the state fair and gone by our booth, I hope have signed it. But we have them at our office too. And it says, we, the undersigned, express our deep appreciation to Governor Matt Bevin and the majority of our legislators in the Senate and the House for their support in the 2019 General Assembly to pass laws protecting the lives of preborn babies from the horrors of abortion. And the legislation, of course, was signed by our governor. And one of the bills that passed and was signed by the governor is called Abortion Pill Reversal. That speaker we had at our state conference last year spoke about abortion pill reversal. These bills, including one in Kentucky, provide information to abortion-minded women about the possibility of reversing the intended effects of a chemical abortion should these women change their mind. In total, there are 8 states that have abortion pill reversal information: Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, and Utah. There could have been a 9th state. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly vetoed the law that the legislature there had passed. Kansas legislation fell just one vote short of successfully overriding the veto. So far, the abortion pill reversal technique had saved over 500 babies. Oh, we already have so many people in the world. We've got overpopulation. Nobody like that has ever taken a trip around even our own areas to see all the vacant spaces and land that's for sale. But I remember the saying from Mother Teresa who said, how can there be so many children? This is like saying there are too many flowers. Anti-discrimination ban passed in 8 states. Kentucky's law successfully passed along with 7 other states. Our Kentucky law would ban discrimination based on sex, race, Down syndrome, or any other disability. A temporary restraining order has been placed on it at this time. Get tired of seeing those TROs, temporary restraining orders. And that's why it's so important that when we go to the ballot box, we know who's running for offices. And when you get to the judicial section of your ballot, I hope you're well aware of who stands for the dignity of human life and who opposes it. There's also the trigger ban. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. That's been something that we've been for since the first time that the U.S. Supreme Court legalized abortion. Besides Kentucky, this law was passed in Arkansas, Missouri, and Tennessee. And it's not as easy as you may think. And in a little bit, I don't run over time, I'll tell you that. For example, it's not that because we passed this bill and it was signed by the governor that once Roe v. Wade is reversed, we'll be able to go back to how it was before 1973 and the U.S. Supreme Court. No, fewer than 5 states have laws prohibiting abortion which could be enforced right now. may have changed a little, but it's essentially about 5 states. 12 states have state court decisions which would permit abortion even if Roe is overruled. I didn't know that. You probably didn't either. The rest of the states, and that would include Kentucky, would either have to overcome significant barriers to enforce old laws or would have to enact new laws prohibiting abortion. If these states do nothing, abortion will remain legal. Now that's a shocker. So when we go back into session later on this year, I don't know how quickly our legislators would move on this, but they're pretty good, both in House and particularly in the Senate, about getting laws passed that will be in place should the time come when we need to put it into effect, such as prohibit abortion in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Now, heartbeat in Kentucky and at least 14 other states. Now, our bill has a temporary restraining order against it, which once again shows how the importance is of having impartial judges on the bench. Dismemberment law. In early May 2019, the federal judge permanently enjoined Kentucky's dismemberment law. Governor Bevin has vowed to appeal this action. And knowing Governor Bevin, as we all know, he will follow through. He is absolutely fearless. He follows through. And those are qualities we want in our legislators, don't we? That's why we elect them. A few days ago, many of us traveled to Potter Stewart's courthouse in Cincinnati to listen to the oral arguments in the EMW Surgical Center versus Adam Meyer and Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services on a case involving hospital transfer agreements. Remember, that was passed back in 1998. We still do not have it because Planned Parenthood hasn't fulfilled its obligation to make sure this is done. And so this case has been appealed. We're waiting on action for that. And we will follow it very seriously because we don't want to have women at the mercy of the abortion profiteers having a botched abortion or other terrible acts happening to her in the abortuary. So you need to have the hospital transfer bill. Judges that were there just 2 or 3 weeks ago are Judges Clay, Larson, and Riedler of the Sixth Circuit. We expect a decision to come down later this year. This past April, that same Sixth Circuit, but different judge, upheld Kentucky's ultrasound law based on NRLC language. I've given you a very quick view of what's been going on in the state, but don't forget, we have federal legislation. That's tougher because you've got lots of states to consider, not just our legislators in Kentucky. Message we've gotten is that abortion survivors need our help. Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act.